We are back at McCormick Place, and two of the new faces on the Big Ten sidelines joining us now. Kevin Wilson, new head coach at Indiana. Luke Fickell, new head coach at Ohio State. I want to get into your teams a little bit, but the two of you have a recruiting history together, I understand. Give us a little bit of insight into that, Coach Wilson.
As a young coach at Miami of Ohio, I recruit Franklin County and Central Ohio, and great program. Columbus DeSales at the time was rolling, and would go in to visit with Coach Bob Jacoby, who had these 5:45, 5:30, 6 a.m. early workouts, and you had to get up early. And a young defensive lineman by the name of Luke Fickell was over there. And as I'm sitting there up early in the morning, so excited to be at this 6 a.m. workout.
I'm sure you were, yes.
And Luke wouldn't even look at me. So with my Miami of Ohio shirt on. So, but yeah, Luke was a great. She was a three-time wrestling champ. Actually, I think the first time I saw Luke, he was on the grappling deal. Was a great player. Yeah, great coach, and Shooty's actually came to Oklahoma a few times and visited down there, so we've crossed paths in those regards too.
So he has no recollection of this.
I think he was late. I do remember.
Luke, this has been an unexpected transition for you. I'm interested in what the biggest challenge has been, kind of given the nature of how all of this has transpired.
I think the timing of everything is what's most difficult. You know, trying to get some insight from other guys, calling other coaches. Sometimes you get onto sensory overload because there's so many people to reach out to. But if it was January, you'd have some time to maybe sit down and collect your thoughts from what each and every person gives you. So it's a little bit different in that situation, in knowing that, hey, we got a job to do, and we've got to do it in a quick amount of time.
Different situation for you, Kevin, taking over at a more traditional time with the program. It is an Indiana program that has struggled in recent years. What made you think that this was kind of the right challenge and a challenge you were ready to embrace?
Well, again, the opportunity to be a head coach doesn't just knock on your door every day. And had some opportunities to look at things, but I didn't think fit my family, where I'd want to live. And I was looking for an opportunity where I thought we could win. I think there's so many great things in place. Traditionally, we might have been on the short end here, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, whatnot, not being a dominant team. But I having coached in the region at Miami, having been at Northwestern, watching teams, being part of teams that have traditionally weren't strong. 1970 Big Ten football is different than the 2000 Big Ten football. There's a lot of balance. There's a lot of teams fighting. Players that used to not be players in the league are players in our league now. Coach Donardo knows, having coached there. I think there's so many more things in place. I have a different animal with the facility upgrade. We're recruiting to a great school. Peyton Manning's made my job a little bit easier in state. A lot of kids are playing with another ball now than they were 30 years ago. So challenging, but I think a great opportunity, and I'm excited and embracing it. I think our kids are. We'll see where it goes. It might be difficult, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and we expect to do well.
Luke, I know you were very close to Coach Tressel, and some of this has been difficult, but after the dust settles, what have you enjoyed the most about being the head coach?
I don't know that we've had those enjoyable times just yet, but I think it's the ability to take a program I know, love, and respect and help it move forward. And, the situation is what it is, but the ability to know what the expectations are, to know what it really means to be a Buckeye, and to take us and really take the program and just begin to get into camp here so we can actually see our program moving forward.
Coach Wilson, I know from an offensive standpoint in Indiana, I know you want to run a lot of plays. How important to the philosophy of Indiana offensive football is it important for you guys to get a lot of plays off during the game?
Well, I mean, you can't run them if you don't convert third downs, and you can't run them if you don't take care of the ball. So I don't know. I'm not really trying to run plays as much as you need to score points. In this era of football, there's not a lot of I haven't done a study, but I bet you in the last 20 years in Indiana, we probably haven't won a game that we've scored 14 or 17 points. Playing good defense means you've got to still score points offensively to help the defense. I know Ohio State will have some athletes and can play some good defense and get some low numbers on guys. And at Oklahoma we could, but I saw some good defenses at Oklahoma start giving up 17 and 21 and 24. So we got to be a team that can score 30 points. At Northwestern, I was a part of a co-championship, and every game we won, we scored more than 30. So I'm not trying to be an offensive head coach. We're trying to put it together. We need to protect our defense, but I believe you do that with ball security. I believe you do that with kicking, and I do believe in this day and age you've got to score points to win football games.
Kevin, staying with that, having been at Indiana, as you mentioned,
there's more significant problems on defense historically at Indiana than offense. So how do you begin to address those problems other than what you said offensively?
Well, again, schematically, coaching-wise, 9 years with Coach Stoops and Luke being a defensive guy, they'll have 5 coaches. It's going to be a different world, I think, at Ohio State now. Instead of having 6 coaches on offense, because you always have your O-line, tight end, running back, receiver, running back, and if the head guy's in offense, it's 6 and 4. Right. At Oklahoma, it was 5 and 5, because at Alabama, it's 5 and 5. With Pete Carroll, Bo Pelini, I guarantee with Luke, don't know it, hadn't been in a meeting yet, but it's going to be 5 and 5. Mm-hmm. And I just think it's easier to coach. You got 2 DB coaches, because the corner conversation is different than safeties. Right. 2 D-line coaches, a D-end conversation is different than a D-tackle. A linebacker coach. So one, it's coaching bodies. 2, schematic change. Hired some guys that are tied in with Bo Pelini, had been with him at LSU, Mike Eckler, Doug Mallory. We'll do some things challenging in coverage, but also we're not going to try to be Nebraska's defense, because our personnel, we have to play to what those guys can do. But we got to, we have ran more, I think, and I don't want to go back and judge, but I come from a training background most recently. For every second of the workout, there's a second running. We're going to be in shape. We have ran hard. We've got to play fast. That's recruiting. We got to play fast. That's training. But you play fast when you know what you're doing, because knowledge is speed, and you play fast when you got confidence, because if you hesitate, you're not playing fast. So we got to play fast on D. We got to help it with turnovers and kicking game.
Coach Fickell, when we came to Ohio State and we'd come there in the summer, we'd always enjoy watching your individual drills when you were running with the linebackers. Did a tremendous job. Like to watch that. But how is that going to change? Obviously now you have the stewardship over the entire program. Have you found yourself trying to gravitate one way or the other, or trying to compensate, wanting to focus more offensively and just overall how the team has to function?
I think that's probably the biggest thing. I've gotten a lot of information and I got a lot of feedback from other coaches, but I'm going to focus on the things which I know and I think that I do well, and that is on the defensive side of the ball. And I think Kevin kind of talked about it a little bit, and how many coaches you have and how you separate your staff. And ours had been a 6 and 4 for forever, and I see it as being a 5 and 5 now. And I want to stay every bit as much as involved as I can. I know that I've already talked with our linebacker coach, and he knows that it will be a bit of a dual threat out there at times with that position, but I don't mind going back and helping out with the safeties and doing some things. So I think the know where your strengths are is going to be the key for me, and make sure that I have confidence in what the offensive side of the ball is doing. And Jim Bowman, I don't have to worry about it. So focus on where my strengths are and not trying to nose myself into something that I can let them do.
Luke, having said that, to manage the game, how much offense and how much time with the offensive coaches you're going to have to spend, just so on Saturdays you can manage both sides?
I think it's key, but I think the best thing we've got going for us right now is the stability and the continuity we've had with our entire staff. So we know who each other are. We know what it's about. It's not about any one person. It's about the big picture, and all of us are involved in it. So there are some different things that we've already put in place, and got some plans for how I can be with them as much as I can, but not meddle in their business as well. But truly to show the players and guys that I care, and I'm not just a one-sided guy, and I'm not just hooting and hollering and hopping around there with the defense, but I got every bit as much of respect and love for those guys on the offensive side of the ball as I do for the guys on the defense, and I think it's a great balancing act.
Luke Fickell, head coach at Ohio State. Kevin Wilson, head coach at Indiana. Guys, thanks a lot.